Hey guys, Thomas the Sulu Jr. here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the movie Dunkirk. So, I had actually not seen any promotional commercialism for this movie until it got really big out of nowhere, and then people were saying it's super good, so I decided to finally check it out, and this is my review of it. So, I think, from what I can gather from the really brief description that I didn't even read all the way, that this actually might be based off of a real event or something along those lines. But I don't know. Anyways, this movie does follow three distinct groups. It follows these two medics, this pilot guy, and this family on a boat. And we start off with the medic, and essentially his goal is to try to get on these boats and try to get home, I assume. Um, but the boats keep getting attacked, and the pilot and the airplanes keep getting attacked, and everything keeps getting attacked. Now, I will say that the transitions are a bit awkward and a bit instant, which makes it a bit more difficult to follow what is going on. It takes a bit to get in, and then as soon as you start to see what's going on, it kind of just goes into the next one. So, this movie does have its issues with the transitions and the pacing a little bit here, at least for me. Um, and we don't really get that much character moments in this movie at all. It's more essentially just stuff sort of happening, and I get it, you know. What I think this movie is trying to go a bit more for the more actiony stuff happening a bit more constant, and I think the music and stuff like that really helped back up that sort of intensity of something like that happening, if that makes any sense. But the transitions were still a bit awkward and weird, and the characters, as I said, weren't really that well developed, if at all. Um, so it was pretty hard to follow any of these groups for a significant amount of time, and their stories, as I try to recall, they don't really meld that well together until like very close to the end. I think where one of the medics, I believe one of the medics, ended up on the ship. I don't recall if that was the case, but even the pilot, as I mentioned, his story doesn't really meld with the other two stories at all. And I thought for the longest time he was a good guy, or at least one of them were. And then at the end of the movie, he like his plane stops working, and everyone was everyone was cheering beforehand, and then his plane like goes down, and then they like arrest him or something. I don't know. It was really weird. And essentially, the people who were still on shore, and I believe the place is called Dunkirk, if that's what it is, but the people there ended up getting saved, as the cover implies that these people on boats came for them, and then they were able to finally get out of that situation. So, uh, the two medics end up on this like train, and then they end up reading how much has happened while they were away. And I believe even the newspaper was already talking about the war, even though they just got back from there. And the movie wasn't. I mean, it was intense, sure, but I don't know if I would say it's a good movie necessarily. Um, just because of how odd everything was, I would give this movie a 6 out of 10. Mainly because of how many transitions there are and just how awkward it is and just the lack of actual characters. That stuff is a little bit more important to me than just action for action's sake, and well, just action because it's a war on top of that. Um, so it's an okay. I think it's an okay movie. I think it could have been a bit better if it probably either I think it could have cut out a bit more of the other two stories between the pilot and the family. Primarily the earlier ones where there isn't really much happening. I think those could have easily been cut out and you would have really lost nothing. Um, But then again, the movie's focus on one thing would have been a lot shorter, so I don't know. So take that for what it's worth. I thought it was an okay movie, not necessarily anything great. But I guess I might be in the minority on this one. I don't know. Anyways, that is my review of this movie. And if you enjoyed it, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. But until next time, everyone, bye!